Hi everyone, Victoria Kennedy, medium clairvoyant from Los Angeles, California. I do apologize. Today my asthma is really kicking my butt. I definitely can hear it, I can feel it, and it's not fun. So today we're gonna talk about what happens to us once we transition. What happens? What goes on? Where do we go? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Is there a devil? Like, what is the big old conspiracy in regards to that? So, I've been a medium ever since I was little. I would tell my brothers and sisters things that were going to happen. They never believed me until once it happened. I at a very young age, I want to say I was like 3, and my sister said that I went up to the dinner table and I told my grandmother, my grandfather, my mom, my father, and 2 other relatives that were sitting at the table that an aunt of mine was going to pass away. Of course, I got in trouble. My dad got really upset with me. And everyone else, they were just pretty much thinking, what is she talking about? So again, I got in trouble. I got punished, whatever. What was my punishment? I have no idea. But my sister told me that because she was there when that happened, she said that I just went up to the table and I said, my aunt's going to die on this day and this time. And I just stood there. And when that day and time came, that actually happened. So it kind of weirded my family out a bit. But my grandmother, who was extremely psychic, which I did not know this until, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago, really didn't say anything. From my understanding, again, I was so young, I do not remember this. This is everything that's been spoken about in regards with my sister. And, it was kind of just shrugged. Okay, whatever. But you're still going to be punished, which obviously I was. So when somebody is ill, they could be, walking down the street. And, we've all seen those articles, or we heard on the news, someone was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I remember, I think I was in elementary school or just going into high school. And I remember watching the news or hearing this story on the news. I really don't like to watch the news. But I do remember this particular story. So, from what I can recall, there was a car accident and there was a mother and her daughter. The daughter was a young child, and she had, I guess apparently her injuries were really, really bad. She was airlifted to a trauma center, and the helicopter that she was in crashed. So it kind of goes to show you that when it's your time, it is absolutely your time to go. No ifs, ands, or buts. There isn't this, oh, hold on, God. I don't want to go at 3:21. Instead, I want to go at 10:21. It doesn't work that way. So in those instances, what happens if a person dies at the hospital? What happens if a person dies in a horrific accident? What happens if somebody passes away peacefully, maybe like in their sleep? What happens to our body? What happens to the soul? Regardless of the type of way that you actually have chosen to leave here, your soul automatically goes with your higher power. But, yes, there is a but, it's so important that everybody has that connection with their higher power. Because when you have that connection with your higher power, it's as if you just close your eyes and God takes you, okay? Or whomever your higher power is. Those who do not have that connection with God, there's that fear. That's when that struggle, that ego comes into play. I'm not going, I don't want to go, right? Because it's ego. Fear is always ego-based. So, kids, babies, they automatically, go with God. It's not until we grow up and we are told all these stories. Let's kind of talk about God. I have heard this ever since I was little. God is a revengeful God. God is a jealous God. I'm not really sure who else has heard this. But again, God is an energetic being, and God only knows unconditional love and light. That's all that God knows, is how to surround us with unconditional love and light. How to open up pathways so we can have our beautiful journey here on this planet. So, why is God a jealous God? He's not a jealous God. If God was a jealous God, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do. We wouldn't have free will. God would just say, nope, this is what I said. This is how it's going to be. This is how you're going to do it. But it's not like that, because God loves us unconditionally. God wants us to experience life here, learn how to deal with certain aspects of our life, and learn from those. So when we pass away, depending on the way that we pass, we're all having a human experience. Every single one of us. All right. So anytime there's an illness, if there's any type of injury, it always starts in your energetic field, which is going to be in your aura. So how do we fix that? What can we do? Well, first of all, we have to change our belief system. We have to believe and know and trust that our higher power, no matter where we're at, no matter what we do, no matter how we leave this place, is going to be right there with us. And when you think about that, it is comforting. If you think about, oh my God, I'm going to die, and what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Who's going to be there? When you start having those doubts, then that's when there's, I guess we can say, some trouble in the waters, right? Those who do not have that connection with God, those are the ones that linger here on earth, as we call it, the astral realm, which is a dense space between earth and heaven. And when you transition and you do not go with God or with whomever your higher power is, and you're stuck here just roaming the earth, doing who knows what with who knows who, you feel every ounce of pain that we do on a human level. We feel hurt. They feel it too, but they feel it in multitudes. We feel hungry. They feel hungry. And again, it's in multitudes. They feel cold. They feel hurt. They feel anger. They feel sad. Every single emotion that we experience here on earth, they experience it. But again, in multitudes. I cannot even begin to explain. Let's just put it this way. They literally hear and feel the earth's vibrations. And that pierces their ears. It pierces their energy. It pierces every part of their energetic field. It literally hurts and damages their soul. And that's because they're not supposed to be here. Some might say, well, why does God let this happen? God does not let this happen. This is something that you have chosen when you decided to leave this earth. I'm not good enough. God's not going to accept me. God's not going to love me. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. Whatever it is, you're doubting your higher power. You're doubting the amount of love, the amount of unconditional love that your higher power has for you. And it's not until either maybe a relative comes and gets you. It's not until maybe your loved one says, I want you to go. Or sometimes that's when they call someone in, such as myself, to go in and to let them see that light and allow them to feel that love that is waiting for them, where their soul can be healed. And then once they actually go into that light, right? I mean, they're going to see everyone and everything. They're going to see their loved ones. They're going to see their pets. They're going to see people who they have not seen in so long. But because we're all connected, they're automatically going to know who they are. Even people who they have not met here in the physical realm, they will still see them and they will instantly know who they are. So once that happens, regardless if you are being, I guess we could say, forcing them to transition, meaning like I said, that's when someone like me goes in and transitions them, or those who automatically transition, your soul kind of goes into a healing process, kind of like a hospital, I guess, and your guides and your guardian angels are with you, and you go on to different levels of this hospital, I guess we can call it, and there's different stages. And we have to remember that our soul is kind of like if it's velcroed onto our body, right? Our soul has been taught limited beliefs. Our soul has been taught they need food, they need water, they need sleep. There's so many things that it's been taught. And it's as if it's been reprogrammed. So let's give an example. Richard Ramirez. Even though he has committed horrific crimes, and I mean horrific crimes, even against children, he will still go to his higher power. But he will begin his healing process on the lowest level of the hospital, right? So as his soul begins to heal, then he moves up, right? So I guess we can kind of look at it as we have a critical care level. We have an ICU level. We have, I don't know what, like a watch level, I guess. There's so many different levels. And it kind of begins at the worst level, right? So as the soul begins to heal, it then continues on, and until it's in its perfect grace, just how God intended our souls to be. And it's not as if this is something against God that our soul is doing. It's just that our soul has been, like I said, kind of reprogrammed in a way, to those limited beliefs. Those limited beliefs are, I can't. Right? Because that's what limited beliefs are. You limit yourself from doing what you want to do. That is a limited belief. And then once your soul is healed, then from that point, you either reincarnate, you either choose to take on something else, or depending on the stage of your soul, you might not return back to earth in a human form. You might be doing something else, but what? I have no idea. That's not for me to know. It's meant for each and every one of us to know and to learn once it's our time. What about those who commit suicide? What about those who cause harm against children and the elderly, or just against anyone in general? Do their souls go to heaven or do their souls go to hell? Well, as much as I would love to say anyone who commits crimes against anyone, children, the elderly, animals, that they pretty much should go to hell and they should feel that pain, but it doesn't happen. So again, kind of going back to Richard Ramirez, there is no hell. There is not a big cauldron of hot boiling water, waiting for this person to just submerge themselves in that water. It doesn't work that way. Now, there's not a devil with a pitchfork, okay, and a pitchfork tail, I guess we can call it. The devil does not exist, meaning there is no hell. It's all made up. Now, is there negativity? Are there demons? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely there are. But there's no hell. There is a heaven. And that is something that God has created. Each and every one of us have created our own version of heaven. What heaven looks like to you. What you feel heaven is. And that is your heaven. When it's your time to pass away and you go to heaven, you're going to go to the heaven that you have created. Think about that. Anytime I really need to have that one-on-one with my spirit family, I go into a different type of meditation, and I have this area that I actually have created. And it's just green grass. There is a huge, huge tree, and there's a bench, there's a lake, and there's just butterflies, and there's birds all over the place. There's rabbits. Every possible thing that I like is there. So when I go into this meditation and I'm talking with my spirit family, that's where I go. That's where I go. And that is something that I have created. I have manifested. That is a spot, I guess we can say a sacred spot where I go to commune with my spirit family. And every single one of my spirit family members are there. And I know sometimes when you're not a medium, sometimes it's kind of hard for people to have that understanding, that full understanding. But, when you're a medium, you see and hear so many things. And I mean so many things. We see things that we kind of at times ask, why am I seeing this? But there's always a reason, always a purpose for that. When I go into homes, my son and I, we go into homes and we clear. I don't see anything. I don't see when that energy is being lifted. I don't see anything. I just feel the energy that it's been lifted and it's been healed and it's no longer there. And when that happens, the overall energy within that location, within a home, totally shifts. The smell of the home changes. The color of the home changes. That's the only way I can really explain it. There's more light, it's brighter, and that's because that energy has been lifted. So think about that. We have someone who's still roaming here. Well, that energy that was lifted, that is allowing the homeowner to live in this home where they can now breathe, they can now sit and live in peace. I'm pretty sure that energy that's hanging around wants the exact same thing. But it's just that they have been manipulated to thinking that God is going to be upset with them. And then we have the ones who, they have some type of what we call a psychic attachment to someone, which could be boyfriend, girlfriend. Well, if I can't have you, no one else will. That is what we call a psychic attachment, because they want nothing to do but to wish harm against them. So when those people go, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to transition. Their main goal is to remain here so they can continue making that other person miserable. And that's where poltergeist stem from. Poltergeist is what we call a noisy ghost. And it kind of works hand in hand with their energy and also with the person's energy as well. I mean, this is when things fall off the wall. You have things flying off the shelf. You have cupboards and cabinets opening and closing, and things literally just being thrown out everywhere. Things moved. I'm pretty sure we've all seen that movie Poltergeist. It's exactly what it is. Things move. There's no explanation. So until that particular energy has been lifted into the light and with their higher power, it's going to continue on. And the other person, the one who has no idea why they're experiencing this, why there's so much chaos in their life, it will just remain with them, because that psychic attachment is going to go everywhere where they go. Every single place. So again, is there a heaven? Absolutely. You create your heaven. Whatever your vision of heaven is, that's where you're going. Is there a hell? No. Is there a devil? No. Are there bad energies? Again, absolutely. Absolutely. And we've seen movies made. Look at The Conjuring. These are true life events. So yes, demons do exist. Just remember, just like if you get sick, you have to heal. The same thing with your soul. When your soul has been in your physical body for such a lengthy amount of time, it has to heal. Because your soul has to remember, I don't need food. I don't need water. I know that I am loved unconditionally, and I know I have great powers and great abilities, because that's what your soul has. Your soul has no limited beliefs. There's none of that, I can't. And when it's your time to go, it's absolutely your time to go. Somebody stepped off the curb. They broke their ankle. Next thing you know, they're dead. 5 minutes later, they're dead. What the heck happened? Some freak accident? It's not a freak accident. That's the way that you chose to go. Let's think about that. So tonight, when you're getting ready for bed, think about all the positivity that you can bring in your life, into your physical self, into your soul self. And when you do that, surround yourself with that unconditional love and light, and you will feel that presence of God. And create your heaven. What does heaven look like for you? What does death look like for you? I know that when I am not here, I would not want to be roaming the earth. By all means, no. I don't want to feel any pain. Why do I want to stay in the astral realm where I feel pain and discomfort? Why do I want to do that? We already have enough pain and sorrow here in the physical realm. There's no way I want to stay for that. Not at all. We all try to live a really good life. All of us do. And when it's our time to transition, it's just this wave of peace. Wave of peace. And what I'm hearing right now is that there is no way that I can even begin to explain the amount of peace, the amount of love that you're going to feel. Because you will feel that. You definitely will feel that. So again, like I said, there's no hell. And, I remember when I was little, my family talking about hell. Oh, you don't want to do that? You're going to make God mad, and you're going to have to answer to God on your judgment day. Okay, well, what I can tell you is that Judgment Day is not an act of where you're going to go stand in front of God. And God's going to go through this entire list from A to Z of things that you've done. God doesn't do that. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't even know how long my list would be. It'd be from here to eternity, basically. The way it works is that once we pass away, we do a life review. But the life review is something where you are going to feel how you made that particular person feel, right? So for example, let's say if you had an ex and your ex was just this big jerk and they hurt your feelings, they hit you, they belittled you, whatever it was, however they made you feel, they are going to now experience that. So going back to Richard Ramirez, everyone he hurt, every way that he killed that person, all the fear that he put in, that he instilled within them, he felt all of that. However they were killed, if they were shot, the pain, he felt that. If they were stabbed, he felt that too. So it's more of a life review. This is what you did. This is how you, when you did that, this is how you made the person feel. But it goes by so quickly. So very, very quickly. And then that's when your soul kind of continues on healing and going through its own process. And again, there's absolutely nothing to fear. Nothing to fear, because everyone comes and gets you. They greet you. They welcome you. You have the angels. You have your guides. You have your guardian angels. You have all the ascended masters. There's your pets. And the colors are so vibrant. There's colors that we have not even seen. And why? Because there's so much distortion here. There's so much negativity. But once you fully transition, there's nothing but love. And we all know that love is the highest vibration and the highest frequency anyone can experience. And it's beauty. It's beautiful. It's love. And love makes every single thing grow. Try it. Have you ever done an experiment? Get a plant, get 2 plants. You can tell one plant how beautiful it is. And then you can get another plant. You can either ignore it or you can talk bad to it. You're ugly. You're not going to grow. And see what happens. See what happens. See how the plant that you surround with unconditional love and light, how it just thrives. And then the plant that you talk down to, how it's not thriving. So again, heaven is definitely the vibe that I am going to be doing when I'm no longer here. And just know, God loves all of us. Your higher power loves you unconditionally. He's not going to send you to hell. Your higher power would not do that to you whatsoever. So be kind, because remember, the way that you project your feelings, or let's say you're in having a disagreement and you're like, I don't care how I make that person feel. Just remember that you're going to feel that exact sadness or misery, whatever it is. Okay? And even those who have left here by suicide, there's no hell for them. There's absolutely no hell. They are going to be forgiven. They're going to take all those steps, just how all of us, depending how we end up transitioning, their soul will take every single step to heal. But the one thing is that they will be put right back on earth. And that's because they did not complete what it is that they were here to learn. So think about that. All right, everyone. Stay well, stay blessed.